All righty, you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So excited for everybody to tune in today. I have a brand new friend with me on the line. We got connected. Let's see, it's probably been like over a month now. And what I like to do is I like to go to events. I like to support people, and when people are having, pop-up shops or things of that nature, I like to connect with the women there. And so a friend of mine was having a pop-up shop in Sacramento. I decided to go and, support her. And so as I made my rounds, meeting the women there, our guest is one of the young ladies that I met. We met for coffee literally the day after. Literally hit it off like right from the start. Definitely a business bestie for sure. So y'all welcome Miss Kenya on the line. Hey, Kenya.
Hi, how are you?
I am good. I'm so glad for you to be on with us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So this is just behind the scenes info, but Kenya is actually the last piece of the puzzle that really made me move forward with even creating Women Crush Wednesday, the podcast. After the conversation that we had, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just do it. Right. I'm gonna just do it and literally put things in motion literally the day after we started talking. And so definitely wanted you to be the first one joining us.
I feel so honored.
You are, girl. You are special. So yes, I definitely had to make sure you were first. So why don't you go ahead and just tell us who you are?
Okay, awesome. Well, my name is Kenya Franklin, and I am the owner of, Juice by Kenya. It's a juicing company that I started. I actually had this vision really almost 2 years ago. I enrolled into a plant-based nutrition course at Casumas River College in my area. And I was super sick, and I just had an interest in health, but holistic healing. And so just with me doing that, I took the course. I actually was in the farms doing sustainable agriculture. I was studying foods and just, seeing how I can, heal myself. I started to see results. A big part of that healing, though, came from juicing. I realized it was amazing how, you juice. I would juice in the mornings, or I do smoothies in the mornings. And I felt better. My skin started clearing. I have an autoimmune disease. And so I just started completely healing. And so I was just inspired to start Juice by Kenya. And it kind of started crazy because I actually was doing it for a friend, for her birthday. I wanted to surprise my best friend at that time. And, made her some juices and, was juicing watermelons for some mimosas, girl. And yes, shamelessly. Absolutely. Brunch, honey. But it was crazy because she's like, yo, your dishes are so good. And I was just like, thank you. But I was so shy to take that step forward and okay, should I do this as a business? And so I pretty much from there just began launching. And here I am now, over 2,000 bottles sold. I mean, we have, girl.
Oh my God.
Yes, you have just a lot of amazing things. My mind is blown because I feel every single month I'm like, oh my gosh, I meet amazing Black women. We talk about health. And it's just something where I'm just excited. I'm happy.
Wow. I love that so much. And so you said you've been doing this for about 2 years now?
Yeah.
Okay. And one of my questions was the motivation behind, you starting your business, but you definitely kind of touched on that. So it just started with you taking a class at Casumas River, and here it has grown into a profitable business. That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So cool. I love, hearing and seeing startups like that, because what I think is when most people think that, they're going to start a business, I feel like they overcomplicate things.
Yes.
Where they feel like they have to do all this brainstorming, or feel like they have to have the perfect product or the perfect service. And really, if you just kind of took a step back and and kind of made note to all the things that, you know, you have an interest in or things that you're good at,
Mm-hmm.
things like that could actually probably take you to the next step. I mean, this was
Yeah.
just a class that you were taking at school.
Girl, it was literally a class. I know I have a 8-year-old, and so like I lived in Boston for a while, and so just out there, it was very interesting seeing how self-conscious, like the area that I lived in was a very predominantly white area, and just very wealthy. But I remember at that time, I'm like, there was juice bars everywhere.
Mm.
And so to come to, like, you know, being from Sacramento, it's like we don't really have access to that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing that's comfortable for Black women to just walk into. And we're just like, hey y'all, you know, and just go meet your girl at the juice bar, right?
Right.
And so I think that was what really inspired me, because for 2 years I really sat on this. Yeah, I sat on it. At that time I was in a whole other industry. I was in financial services. And so it was just kind of like, okay, like, what do I want to do? I didn't know if I should hop out, you know, but, you know, honestly, I'm happy that I took the risk.
Just took
Yeah.
that leap of faith.
Yeah.
And I think you just touched on something very important, especially
Mm-hmm.
being in the Black community. There are so many different industries that our community lacks, which
Yeah.
means there's so much area of opportunity
Mm-hmm.
for Black business owners to capitalize off of that. Um,
Absolutely.
you are absolutely right. There are not a lot of, you know, juicing places in Sacramento. When I had moved to Atlanta, they have all types of juicing
Girl.
bars and all
Yeah.
these things. And I first saw it out here. And then
Mm-hmm.
when I moved back to Sacramento, I noticed that there was like, you know, a few, you know, hippie spots
Mm-hmm.
in Sacramento, like Nectar Bar or things
Yeah.
like that. But they are very spread out
Mm-hmm.
and they're like not convenient to where I was. So I'm like,
Yeah.
even if I wanted them, I'm like, I'm not going to drive that far.
Right. To
To
downtown.
get it. It's either
Yes.
downtown or, like you said, in predominantly white neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
That is just inconvenient for me to drive to. And so I think as an entrepreneur, and especially as a Black entrepreneur, I
Yes.
think you have to start looking in your community for the answers that you're seeking, because you got to look like, okay, well, what can make our community better?
Absolutely.
What are we lacking? What is missing here? And then
Mm-hmm.
those are the areas that you can grow in.
Yes.
So I think that that's absolutely amazing that you were able to see, like, okay, well, you know, there's not a lot of people doing this that look like me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna do it.
Right. Seriously. Yes. And
um,
it's you know what? Lately, it's amazing. I've been seeing a lot of Black women, or just, you know, juicing companies, like, we're popping up. And
mm,
I'm like, yes, go queen.
yes,
Because we need
queen.
more, the better. Like, we need more. I mean, there's McDonald's on like every street, every
Yeah,
corner, you know, Starbucks everywhere. And I'm like, the more representation that we have, honestly, the better. And we need to get out there.
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And that's really why, one of the reasons why I even wanted to broadcast this podcast, because I wanted to show people in all stages of their success, whether
Yeah.
it's, you know, beginning, whether they have 2, 3 successful businesses. I want
Mhm.
somebody who has no business to hear this and be inspired, you know, to start something of their very own.
Absolutely.
I think people in our community, especially in our community, we tend to talk about, oh, we don't have this, or we don't have that, or, you know, this is a disadvantage for us. And we talk about all the
Mhm.
things that we don't have, or we compare ourselves to other people. But nobody is willing to take that step to
Yes,
provide what we don't have. And so
girl.
nobody
Yes.
wants to make the juice bars, or nobody wants to, you know, be a Black doctor or a Black
Mhm.
psychologist. Like, they're just complaining about the
Right.
fact that we don't have more
Right.
representation there, but they're not willing to take that step to
Mhm.
close that gap. And so
Right.
more Black women, Black men, we need to take more responsibility of
Mhm.
the change that we actually want to see.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? Honestly, I will say, I feel like I have, especially in this pandemic, I've been seeing a lot of just Black entrepreneurs coming out.
Yeah.
And like, so it's like we're here, and cause we have to make money. And so I think that's like the biggest blessings. It's like, you know what, it would be nice. Like, in Sacramento, we have our places that we go to when we want certain things. There's certain communities in the area where you can go on Stockton Boulevard, and you have like a lot of like your Vietnamese places and things like that. And, the huge stores, like you can go down Franklin, and if you want to get like, anything, like they got all the Spanish stuff on Franklin, right? So it's just kind of like, we need to keep creating, and it's really important to keep creating that in our community. We do have the African market, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And just still expanding, and still keep going. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I totally agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's honestly been it's been a blessing to watch, and I think it's been very inspiring to see how many entrepreneurs have emerged during the pandemic. Some were forced into entrepreneurship, and sometimes the circumstances do suck, but I'm an individual that definitely believes in divine timing. And so many people get caught up in our mindset where, we're so scared. You said you sat on your idea for 2 years. There's probably so many people, stuck at their job that have been sitting on ideas for 5 years, 10 years. And, this pandemic, brought some of them to light where they're like, okay, I have no other choice but to bet on me. So
Girl.
I love it. I love it. I love seeing how creative people have been. Speaking of the pandemic, did that affect Juice by Kenya? How were you affected by the pandemic?
You know what? It was kind of crazy because especially at that time I was an essential worker. And so when I started this, I was just like, okay, I don't even know. Like, I'm just like, we're just going to kind of go for it. And you know what? Like, I didn't think that people were going to actually like hop on this. I was just like, oh, okay, like, like we'll just see what happens. Like, we'll just go with the flow. But like the pandemic actually has helped my business, believe it or not. Like, it is insane. Like, I mean, just so many people, they're like, especially with the whole health and all that stuff and being holistic, it just kind of all just manifested into one. But I'm thankful for that because I feel with the push, it's pushed me even more. And it was a learning curve for me as well. So I grew kind of quickly. So it was just kind of like, you start from zero, sell a couple bottles or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's just like, okay, now you have people like, hey, we're, when's the pre-orders, where are you gonna be at? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, okay.
That is a blessing. That is a blessing. That is so exciting. Now, you did mention that you were an essential worker at the start of the pandemic. And one thing that really intrigued me when we first met was the fact that, you actually got your first job at what, 24? How old were you when you decided to actually get a job in corporate America?
A job, girl. Lord. I think, you know what? I had my son at 23.
Okay.
And then it was around, I would say, like 24-ish, 23. Okay. Yeah.
Guys, Kenya got her first job at 24. Yo,
I used to work little things.
No, look. Now, not real job. No. Now, I ain't gonna do you like that. Now, not as she wasn't working, right? But she didn't have a typical job. She actually comes from parents who she saw actually grow in the network marketing industry. And so, she kind of followed into their footsteps, but she actually got a first corporate job at the age of 24, which I think is like a social experiment in itself. So I want you to tell us, one, let's like take it a step back. How was it growing up with your parents who were in network marketing? Because you actually saw them go from nothing to something and actually grow a successful business. So how did that affect you having entrepreneurial parents?
Girl, well, first off, shout out to my parents. Like,
yes.
Like, I hope they watch this. Like, Mama, I made it. No. But no, okay. So my mom and dad, they started their business in 1998, 93, excuse me. My mom and dad, my dad, just kind of worked and, just did jobs here and there. My mom was a nurse. And so they started working in the financial services industry and doing like network marketing and all that stuff. And so I remember when we started, when they started rather, but I remember we had nothing. And my dad would just come home and he would just sell like a dream. He would like tell me like, this is what I'm about to do. This is where we're about to go. Like, he had like his little thing, like the first 50 grand, like I make my first 50, and then it went to 100 grand. Then it went to 200 grand. But it was very interesting because I saw my parents, they let go of this corporate life structure, and they use motivation of owning their time, being an entrepreneur, and they believe in unlimited income. Mm-hmm. And so for me growing up around that, it was very interesting because like, I always went to private schools and all that good stuff. But, my dad had a Mitsubishi, my mom had a Honda, you know what I'm saying? And so like, it just seemed like almost every single year, like next thing you know, my mom has a Lexus. Next thing you know, daddy got a new Rolls. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, I'm traveling, and getting stamps. I'm 14, getting stamps on passports. But it was very interesting because I watched my mom and dad with their mindset. Mm. Like they literally were all in. They hopped all in and they believed. And that was just something that was very interesting to me because it's like, corporate America is very comfortable sometimes. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So and my mom was making 100 grand already. So for her to like literally say like, you know what, I'm tired of this and I'm ready to move and own my time and own my life. That was a lot, but it was a step for all of us because it was different. There was times when they were grinding and they'd pick me up from school early sometimes. I'd get in the car with them and we would go down to Santa Rosa and we were building a business out there. We were building businesses in Tracy, but I saw firsthand what it was. I saw them get ready. I saw the preparation. I saw the affirmations every single morning. I saw the positivity. I mean, I was reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like
my future life.
Because my dad would read, like John Maxwell. I actually have his book. It's somewhere on my bookshelf. But I was probably like only maybe 14, 13, and he signed my book. One of the first books that I read was Failing Forward. And because I watched my parents, they were changing their mindset, so it changed me. So it made me a believer to know that I can start anything that I want. Mm-hmm. And trials and tribulations came with that. But, they kept it pushing, they kept it moving, and that's why I have like on my slogan for my business, it's the movement, because like, it's literally, they created a movement and they just would not let up, mm-hmm. And so, yeah, but that like totally, I got flushed with it. You know what I'm saying?
Girl, you are a network marketing baby. Oh my God.
A network. We call ourselves second gen. I am definitely a second gen. And you know what? And my parents are so happy. And it was different. When I told them I was going to start my own business, they were just kind of like, what, why? In the sense, but I get it because they're just like, we built this and we want you to come and, take over. But for me, it was just important. This is my passion. This is what I do. Mm-hmm. But like, when I did get my first job, my dad would just kind of be like, wow. But I had to kind of feel the real world, Uh-huh. And, it took me a while, I think, after having my child, and I went through so many struggles, especially being a single mother. But one thing I realized is like, there's nothing like being an entrepreneur. There's nothing like owning your time. As a single mom, we have to be in these classes for our kids. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, when you're working 8 to 5 and then you're getting off and rushing and you don't even see the teacher, you barely see your kid dropping them off, And yeah. So that's what really like inspired me to like leave the corporate life,
Mm-hmm. Now what were some of the things, because, I'm sure it's just so crazy to me because, you see people on social media always complaining about their job and you literally mm-hmm. could not relate at all. Now, when you did actually start working, was it as bad as people make it seem, or what were your thought processes when you first started working your job?
Oh, girl. It was like, it's still like, first of all, and any of my friends that know me, like, they'd be like, Kenya, they're like, because I'd be like, am I going to work today? you know, and I would be, or, you know, I would do things like, whoa, like 30-minute lunches were like, I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm used to going to Nordstrom's for lunch, you know, rest in peace, Nordstrom's and SAG. But there's there's a lunch, little diner upstairs. But it was very interesting. The job that I actually did work, it was very interesting to me because a lot of those women started at 18. Ooh. And so when I was where I was working at, they started when they were 18 and they've been there for 26, 30 years. And that just scared the shit out of me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I don't think, like, you're driving the same place, the same route, girl, the same microwave food, you know, the same stress. And I'm not even bashing anyone that works a job because I get it. But like, it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. And I think that for me, I just knew that that's not the life I want to live.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's what kind of really launched me into stepping out. It wasn't good for my mental health either.
I can attest to that one right there.
Yes.
Now, what are 5 reasons that you know that you couldn't stay in the corporate life once you got a taste of it and you knew, like, okay, I gotta get Juiced by Kenya up and running full throttle because this ain't the life for me?
Number 1 for me was racism.
Oh.
Oh yeah. When you're like, and I think that is something that's very different because, like, you know, my parents, you know, they have 2 franchises. And so I'm used to seeing, like, you know, a lot of encouraging and all that, but there was just a lot of racism and it was very underlined. And so I think for me, that's number 1, especially being a Black woman, because it's like when you do speak about this, then you're dramatic, you're emotional. Right. You know, and then like, oh, take a day off. But it's like, no, because there's literally like underlying racism. It's there and you can literally feel it. So that was a lot. Number 2 for me is the pay. Yeah. Like the whole bi-weekly thing, like that's just like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you know, and because like when you're, you know, like it's a lot, you know. I mean, was it appreciated? Absolutely. But then when you kind of like level down and you sit and look at your paycheck and you're like, okay, look, like I was exchanging $20 for my time an hour, right? And then when you really look at it, and then after taxes, it's depressing, girl. You know, and like this is not it. And so that's what really launched me, because I'm like, okay, if I'm replacing my income on weekends, bi-weekly, on weekends, then there's no way that I'm not gonna like take this thing and just go 100% with it. So I think it was just that. And I think it was that. So that's 2. Gosh, number 3. Time. Yeah. Owning your time. You know, like working 40 hours, especially in a pandemic, and being an essential worker, working 40 hours in a week is just like, when you really think about that and seeing like, how do you even maintain your mental health? Right. As a single mother, like, of course we're stressed out. Mm-hmm. And so that's something where I'm just like, no, like I have to earn my time and make the more money. And I started realizing that the more time I have, the more money I've been making. You know what I'm saying? Amen. Gosh, that's 3, right? Mm-hmm. 4, I would say traveling. That was one of mine. I'm like, how can you know what, for me, it was me having to ask another grown adult if I can go somewhere. Like, that's what it was for me. I'm like, oh no. You know, or like, and then when you ask them, they're just like, oh, well, do you have PTO? And then when you tell them that you have PTO, they're like, well, you don't want to use all your PTO, Kenya? And it's just like, whoa. Like, you know, like, what the heck is going on here? Like, I just, you know, and so it's like they're literally, and then it's like, oh, well, so-and-so is going to be off this day, so you can't take that week off. And it's almost kind of like a sense of like, okay, this is a lot of control. Yeah. This is a lot of, like, they have a job, some of these jobs have a lot of control over your life. And I just I couldn't. And I eventually stopped. I just would be like, oh, I'm just not coming in today. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, oh, okay. Because when you, like, why go, you know what I'm saying? Like, why go explain to someone that's going to literally try to tell you, do you have PTO? And then after do you have PTO, it's like, well, you're using a lot of your PTO. So it's like, how can you win? And then if you say I'm taking a mental health day, then they're just like, you know, can we get
can we get some documentation for that, please? Like,
girl, and you know, I always have the documentation. Okay, I be like, do you now? Okay, so because you have to.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, definitely.
Just to piggyback, I would talk to my parents about it. I remember they went to Bahamas right back in February, right? Or February or January, they were in Bahamas. And my dad was like, oh, do you want to come? And I was like, oh. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and my grandmother, she passed away in February. And so after that, my parents actually flew to Bahamas. And I think that's when it hit me, because it's like, my grandma has just passed away. That was like my life. She was my heart. And when she passed away, it was very interesting, because it's like, here's my mom and dad, they flew to Bahamas just to kind of get just relief, you know, and here I am, like, trying to get my grievance letters in. And I think for me, that was enough. That was truly enough. Yeah. So
yes, actually I had a very similar thing with me when my grandmother passed, and it was just a hot mess, honestly. You know, I had to, you know, go back to California. I was, you know, in Atlanta at the time, and like, you almost don't even get to process your grief, because you're so concerned with making sure all your I's and are dotted and all your T's are crossed for this job that literally does not care. So
girl
does not care at all. One thing that I will say about my mom, you know, she's always had a job, but for us, like, family was always number one. And so I remember I think I got my first job after high school at like 17, 18. And so I remember, you know, I think I worked at like Taco Bell in the mall. And so we would go to my grandparents' house for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and, you know, just the struggle of trying to, you know, get those days off with Black Friday, working retail. And, you know, it was very difficult. And my mom basically told me, she was like, you're going, it really doesn't matter. So either, you know, they're going to get it filled, or you're just not going to go. And so I think that having that mentality, like, one, these jobs don't care about you.
No.
You have to prioritize the things that actually matter to you, and family is always number one. And so if you need to get docked some points because you're going to go spend Thanksgiving with your family, then you just got to take the points, because you're not going to get that time back. And
girl,
you're not going to get it back. There's a lot of times when it came to family events that I had to miss when I was in college, because I was working 2 jobs, going to school, and all that will always be on my heart by, you know, me not being able to take that time off and spend time with my family. So it's like, the time that you do have with your family, you have to hold that dear, and you can't let these jobs get in the way of that.
Seriously. I mean, even being a single mom, I was telling one of my friends the other day, I'm just like, I've just been learning to maximize my time. And so it's just like, being a single mom, even if it's down to like, when I come home, I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, but I don't want to spend half of it, you know, because you only get 3 hours after working a job.
Yeah.
Of this time, you have to cook, do all that. So I would do things where it's like, okay, I have my house clean. So then that maximizes my time with my child. You know what I'm saying? Or it maximizes my time to build my business, to check in and see like what's going on. And so like, I realized just that, I'm like, you know what, like, this is how I knew that like corporate America is just it's not for me. And I respect people that work there. I really do. And we need people that, you know, but for me, I just know personally, it's not on, I can't. And especially like, if I get one more phone call from my family, be it in Bahamas and Jamaica, and while I'm at a job and my dad's just like, how you doing? I'm gonna scream. I'm a scream.
Yes. Now, you know, when we had our initial first conversation, when we had that coffee date, you were on contract, and I think you had, maybe like a month left of your job. So you're officially done. Full-time entrepreneur now, right?
I feel like one of the little wives or something like that. Like just waiting. It's like I got my little cup of coffee. My son's asleep. I'm gonna wake him up in a little bit, take him to school. You know, it's beautiful. Yes. So
Yeah.
like now I am completely full time just juicing. I think this makes I'm just happy.
Oh, I love
It's
it.
the happy, and it's so like, you know, I had to prep for this. This was a lot, you know what I'm saying? And it's been a lot for everyone. But like now it's just like I woke up, burned some incense, have all my candles burning, like affirmations, you know, try to turn a little Erykah Badu, you know, make a
Yes,
little avocado
girl.
toast sandwich and just a little ginger shot. But it's just, yes, like it feels good. But
Yeah.
I know for this month, especially of November, it's a lot of like, I have to like completely let that go. So I'm like giving myself time to just process what I went through. It's like a trauma.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
literally
saying?
trauma. The trauma of corporate America.
Girl. Oh, yes. So yeah.
Well, congratulations. I'm
Thank you.
super excited for you, super proud of you. Now, there is
Yeah.
one thing that you had mentioned, and I don't want it to go over anybody's head, because you briefly said it. And I want you to speak on this because you're literally like one of the only people that are like my age who I've ever heard do this, and you actually pay somebody to clean your house. Like,
Yeah, I have a little part.
people to like do things that are tedious to you. And I think I just recently learned that at a conference that I went to this January with Bob Proctor. He said, you know, you need to pay people to do the things that you don't need to spend time doing. And you're the first young person that I've seen do that. And I was like, okay, that was the networking marketing parents, because I'm like, yo, that's crazy.
Girl, yes. I think my mom, I think she definitely was the one. Some mom would be like, oh no, we're gonna get somebody to do that. Like we gotta go. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I just, you know, I think especially for me being a single mother, like it just, I don't do well with clutter. And so like, and whenever like I'm like disorganized or like I just feel like things aren't right, then I get completely stressed out and just my whole zen, my energy is off. And so yeah, so I have someone come in, you know, once, twice a month, and they just do a whole deep cleaning. They wash all of the clothes, all of that stuff. So then my son's clothes are hung up in the closet, my clothes are hung up, my bathrooms are clean, kitchen clean, and then that way I'm just able to come home and just chill and rest. I do clean.
Yeah.
I do clean. I do cook, but I'm not going to spend a Saturday vacuuming the floor, you know, and mopping. And that, you know, because Saturdays for me at 8:00, I'm trying to be at somebody's brunch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And take a nice walk downtown and do whatever. My son, he's in karate. So I don't have time to clean all the time.
Yeah.
And so I just learned that, you know, pay people for the things that you don't want to do. And you don't have to feel, especially being a Black woman, I think sometimes we feel guilty.
Yes.
Because we're just like, I'm an independent. I don't need anybody cleaning my house. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it's just like, yes, I do. Like, you know. You know, I'm not maintaining my own car. I will take it to Mazda to get it maintenance, but I'm not physically actually doing the maintenance. I need a loaner car as y'all maintenance in it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same thing. That's just how I have chosen to live my life. And it's honestly, if breaking it down and like looking at my budget, it's like I spend that money on all kinds of crap.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I know that I have the little budget there to do it. And it's made my life like beautiful. My boyfriend, he was just like, I don't really see you clean.
Oh wait, oh my God.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, we good over here, son. Unless you want to come over here and clean something.
Right.
Like,
we are good, sir.
Right. But it's like, no, you're not marrying her.
Right.
So
I think it all comes down to perspective, and I think you touched on something really good. Like, you spend that money elsewhere. And so, you know, even with me and what I do, and, you know, we teach people financial literacy, you know, we teach people about investing, and it's really just getting them to see that money is going to be spent anyway. You're going to be buying shoes. You're going to be buying clothes. You're going to be buying bundles. You're going to be buying new stuff. Why not take that money and invest it into yourself? Why not take that money and do something that's going to save your mental health? Like, why not?
Yes. No, seriously. Like, I just want to come home and, like, I do have a project now that I am working on, which is my patio. And so I'm doing a whole little Zen patio and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And so but it's just like, I can't do that if my whole house is messy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
It becomes fun instead of like an actual mental, like, stress, like, oh my God, I have to clean my house. Now it's like, fun, let me go to Home Depot. Fun, let me go to Hobby Lobby. And I get to, you know, make me a new patio. And it's like, I feel like as Black people in general, I think we need to get out of the perspective that we have to struggle, like, in all areas.
Yeah.
Things can be easy. All we have to do is make the choice to have it be easier. Will you have to pay sometimes? Absolutely. But we have to change our mindset to be that's okay. Like, I will pay for convenience any day. Like, any day I'm dropping coins to be like, I like things to be easy. And we have to get in the habit of normalizing luxury. We have to normalize convenience for us as a community, because other people are not struggling. Other people are literally living life, and we just feel like we have to go through some traumatic experience all the time, or be on the struggle bus every day, when that is not the case at all. Like, you need to make your life easier.
Yes. And I feel like as Black women, like, we have completely, like, we already pay for maintenance. You know what I'm saying? But, like, I think things like, getting your house clean, we don't think that as a maintenance. We think that as work. Yeah. You know, we get our hair done. We get our nails done. You know, that's a maintenance. Yeah. And so I'm telling you, add some cleaning to get your house clean in that maintenance plan. Girl, you're going to be feeling so good. It's a life changer. It is a life changer. And, like, even my mom, she's just like, what you doing? I'm like, I'm able to be out on the go because, you know, so
then you have time to grow your business. You have time to put yourself in different spaces, to meet new people, to network with different people. You ain't got to spend a whole Saturday cleaning. You can spend a whole Saturday being at a shop. You can spend a whole Saturday networking with people, getting your name out there, especially since you're still in the launching phase of your that is big. Now, being somebody who has you know, done the job thing, why do you think it's important that everybody should kind of have their own personal business as a backup plan to their corporate life, if that's the life that they choose to live? And that's totally fine. But why do you think somebody should have their own personal business as like a plan B?
Right. I believe that people should have their personal business as a plan B. Even if it's a hobby, a passion project, or, you know, just for me, I'm super big on mental health. And I just feel like it doesn't have to be something that's just like, I'm going to want to be out here and become a millionaire off this business. But it can just do something to have a plan B, because you just never know. You see what I'm saying? And, like, it's always good, especially having a child, it's always good to be an example and show them that you're building a business. Because you may, like, I know, like, for me, like, my son, he may be like, Mommy, I want to go to college and, you know, get the good job and all that. And that's fine. But show them something different. Like, show them more than just working. Like, show them that, like, look, we're doing entrepreneurship, or, you know, support Black businesses. But I think it's important because, like, again, the pandemic, like, opened up everybody's eyes. And, like, having plan B has helped a lot. Because if I didn't have this plan B, some things could have changed for me. Yeah. You know, or it wouldn't have made me want to leave my job even more.
Right. And I agree with you 110%. I mean, how I knew I needed to start making, create my exit plan was just when I would just cry before going to work. Like, I have had countless moments with my boyfriend when I was in Atlanta, and I mean, I would just be hyperventilating, like crying, like,
Oh yeah.
so, and I mean, it was just a hot mess. Like, I mean, just the mental like trauma of just going to
Yeah.
work, working for 12 hours. You know, I'm in
Ooh.
the service industry, the customer service industry. You know, people just are trash sometimes. And like, to be on the other side of that, like, it was traumatic. And I mean, even on the days where, you know, things aren't even easy, I'm thankful for all the hard days when it comes to entrepreneurship, because there is nowhere in this world that I would rather be than like right here, right now. Just like having the freedom to move. I mean, I literally picked up and changed states because I wanted to. Like, just having the time freedom to be able to do that. And it's like there's no price that you can put on that. I mean, even if I was broke, I'm like, I'm still about to get it out the mud and do this entrepreneur life, because there ain't no way that I'm going back to another job. There is no way.
Seriously. I've had, you know, this last job that I had, it was a very traumatizing for me. I hope people are getting, I'm very sarcastic, but no, seriously, on a serious note. It was very traumatizing because I dealt with that. I dealt with like not wanting to go to work, having panic attacks. For me, I know my triggers are, as soon as I'm triggered, I shut down. You know what I'm saying? But how can you shut down when you still got to go to work? You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, I'll be here feeling like I'm sitting, I'm just, you know, just the ticking bomb ready to just explode, you know? And so, yeah, I get it. Like, it's a lot. Like, it took a lot out on my mental health. And it wasn't really necessarily the job that I was doing. It was the people that I had to deal with. And it's the people, because they were so comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, like, they were comfortable and critical. They were critics. You know what I'm saying?
Right there.
Oh,
word. I want to be comfortable and critical. Okay.
Critical. And so, like, and here I am, I'm a very, like, happy person. And so here I am, like, good morning, everyone. And they're just looking at, like,
you annoy them. You annoy them that you're happy. Girl.
You know, they're like, you're always coming in with coffee and a hello, you know? And I'm just like, well, yeah. Because I don't want to be like you guys. Because I know in that office I worked with a lot of great people. I really did. But there were some women who probably had other dreams, but ended up settling because this was a comfort for them. You know, because you get used to getting that same paycheck.
Yeah.
Not too high, not too low, like right in the middle so that you can stay there.
Right.
And, you know, but you convince yourself that, okay, well, I have full benefits, so that I know I have a good job. Yeah. But it's like, it was for me, it's like, I don't want to sell my soul to benefits.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to sell my soul and be mean to people or just start little stuff or be petty to people because that's your environment. And so I realized that its environment truly matters. I'd rather be by myself, mess with myself before I'm in an office with a bunch of negative people, because then it starts to get on you. Yeah. And then eventually you become the rooted, and then you start to bloom with them. And so for me, it's just like, any woman, and like I said, everybody needs a job. You know, I mean, if you have to work, go ahead, but have your plan B. Because when people piss you off, I've seen it with my own eyes. Like, people, they will sit there if the stock market keeps crashing, if the if the banks were like, we are closed, at the end of the day, you still gonna need a plan B. Yeah. Period. And so it's just like, just build it. And I don't care if it's selling roses on Sundays, like on the corner, just do it, because you just never know. Nothing is forever. This life isn't forever, and these jobs are not forever. You are an employee ID. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And when you leave, it's going to say terminated. you
Right.
know? And so it's like, why not leave on your terms? Why
Yeah.
not control life on your terms? So that was really the inspiring part for me wanting to leave, because like I have to have that freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I have to have, like, it was for my mental health, and it was but now it's for my business,
Yeah.
because I'm, want to be able to juice Black women up and inspire other people,
Yeah. That sounds like an event title. I like that.
Hey, okay, so when you come back out
Yeah.
here,
Right.
let's go.
I'm like that sounded like an event right there. Like,
Yes.
I think you just touched on so many key aspects. I mean, the environment piece. I mean, people getting trapped into the cycle. I mean, just as a community, society, not even community, society.
Mm-hmm.
We're sold this dream: go to school, get good grades, go to college, and I know firsthand that I have 2 degrees, and that still didn't even help me land a decent job. Like,
Wow.
when I got out here, I thought I was, marketing major. I thought, I have big things. And marketing to most people is, okay, you're going to be selling pillows at Kroger. And, not to sound bougie, but I didn't, spend 6 years of my life to be selling pillows to people. Like that ain't it. So I just think as parents, as older people, we got to start instilling into these kids that, okay, cool. If you find something that you're passionate about, that is a job, cool, pursue it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But it's the fact that you have to have a plan B. You have to be doing something on your own. You have to be creating something of value for your family. As a parent, because I'm not one, but as a parent, what are some things that you are going to, or have even now started instilling into your son, to have, that entrepreneurial mindset in him?
Right. You know what? Before my son was even born, I mean, as soon as I found out I was pregnant, like, we started investing with him straight up. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like,
right now.
the way with inflation, I'm like, look, I will not be taking out a loan in my name for you to go to college. But no.
I hope y'all write that down. Start investing for your kids.
Investing. But when he started to get older, we would talk to him about his investment. And so we would tell him, like, Emeka, like, we're putting money away. And so we started teaching him about just money and how money works and just how money flows to you. He, will always, especially when he was younger, he'd always go into the office with us. And so we would just make it very clear, this is you. This is, you can own this. This is our family business. So I made him a part of just the process. And like, he has his little things, like he sells his toys to his cousins and stuff. And so it's just like really just keeping him involved and showing him the entrepreneur aspects of life.
Yeah.
And just letting him, he's really into art. So it's just like giving him the opportunity to create, and then kind of showing him how to create and then sell. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just kind of like build and stuff. So it's been really fun, just because I feel like I'm getting the chance to kind of do what my parents did to me.
Yeah.
With like having them around this amazing environment where it's just like, whatever you want to do, you can do. Yeah. As long as you put your mind to it and you work hard, you can do whatever. And so I think those are pretty much the things that I do. I go to the farms a lot. So Saturdays I go to one of the farms out here in Elk Grove. And so I take him with me. And I let him see firsthand, like, this is what mommy's doing. This is how mommy is picking, like, these fruits. Like, we go to farmers markets. And so I'm showing him, like, the seasonal fruits and stuff like that. But really just keeping your child, like, involved. I think that's really important, to keep your child, if you are a single mom or just a mom and you're starting a business, walk them through the process.
Yeah. Because,
like, and when you do that, like, really, you may not think they're listening, but they truly are.
Definitely.
Because that was something for me. Like, my parents, I remember when I was young, but we were going through, looking for offices, and I would go and walk through and look around because I thought, like, okay, this is our office, and but it was amazing because when I was 16, I started my own business. I was doing like clubs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing because like my dad, he kind of just let me do it. But my dad was just like, wow, like he was like, you kind of knew everything, like what to do. But it's just like when you raise your child in that environment,
Yeah.
like they really will pick up.
I think that that's absolutely amazing. And I think that we need to normalize that,
Absolutely.
because I think our generation, maybe not you, because, you know, you had entrepreneurial parents, but for those
Girl,
of us
he was broke. Okay.
for those of us who were not fortunate enough to, actually have parents in the entrepreneurial realm, nobody taught us how to be entrepreneurs. And so most of us are literally grinding out the mud, trying to figure it out. And so it's like we have a due diligence to make it easier for the next generation, to make it easier for our future kids, for the children that we have now, to really show them the process, to show them how we're doing it. Because like you said, even if they're not, talking to you about it, they're being a sponge. They're picking up that knowledge. And so I think that is motivation right there.
Oh yeah, and my son, like, and he's seen me, like he has definitely seen, like he sees what I do, he sees how I do it, but he understands the long hours that I work. You know what I'm saying? But he sees like it from top to bottom, and I think that's just beautiful because it's just kind of like he's excited, he's motivated. He'll be at school like, my mommy sells juices. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm like.
Oh my God, I love that.
Girl, he's like, at my grandparents, he calls his, my dad, he's like, my granddad's a billionaire, like, and can you imagine this little black boy, 8 years old, and he's such a joy, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's a blessing because it's just like, that's how our kids should be.
Yes.
They should be excited. And, and even with the politics going on, even down to that, like, I explained to him what's going on, and just keep him involved.
I love it. I love it. Now, what is one business goal that you have? 2020 is coming to an end. I know it's been a super crazy year. Most people are actually planning for 2021 now.
I'm already there.
21 has already started. If you guys don't know, if you don't make your 2021 goals in December, 2021 has already started. So what is one business goal that you have for 2021?
You know what? For 2021, I am going to take the heat up. Like I'm seriously, like I am working on a project. I'm actually working on doing a juice truck. So that's my goal. It's just to take the heat up, and just really align myself like with more Black women entrepreneurs in Sacramento. I've been meeting so many amazing people, and every time I'm talking, like, I mean, just filled with so much, like, you think when you're an entrepreneur that you know it all, and then you meet somebody else and you're just like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's just like meeting you. I'm just like, oh my God. Yeah. Like, but like my goal this year, is to start the juice truck, and just be more, build a dynasty. Yeah. Build a corporation and inspire other people. I want to be able to go into schools, especially working with kids and, having a child. But I just really want to focus on like nutrition and health. And especially for me personally, my health, because it has always been a struggle for me growing up. So yeah, but look for me.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, how important do you think it is that women support one another?
It is 110% important. And one thing I do want to say, and just for the record, especially when it comes to Black women supporting each other, something that I have struggled, because, when you go through life, and we go through a lot of traumatic experiences as Black women, and sometimes it's very weird to get support because we're always like, why? What are you doing? You trying to steal my business? You know what I'm saying? And I want to even starting when I first started Juice by Kenya, that was one thing. I felt like this pressure of like, I have to be defensive of everything that I do. And I think Black women, and I'm speaking to myself right now, we have to let other Black women support us wholeheartedly. Does that make sense? Yes. And give people the benefit of the doubt and understand that they're not doing like anything underhanded to you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I have actually lost some friends this year just being defensive and being like, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? And, you know, like,
Yes.
you try to steal my business,
Yeah.
but just like, we have to let Black women in.
Mm-hmm.
And we, you know, if we're able to give it, we should be able to receive it.
Mm.
So that's my thing when it comes to supporting Black women, is making sure we're not always in competition with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And we need to make sure that we're treating Black women as family. And if you got something, you feel something, just say it. And, you know, be real, be open, be honest about it. But truly support Black women, because we need it. It's a lot. We already go through a lot when we walk out these doors. We go through a lot with our mental health. You know, we're already going through a lot. But if you're going to support a Black woman, truly support a Black woman, if you're the one receiving it or if you're the one giving it.
Wow.
So that would be, girl. Let me know.
I actually have never.
That's being 30, honey. That's growing up.
That is such a mature answer. And, you know, as many women as I have connected with, no one's ever even said that, you know, really honing in on being the receiver. Because, you know, we're always talking about, okay, you know, you need to support. But how can you accept, like, how can you, like, you have to make sure that you're open to that as well, because like you said, a lot of women can be defensive. A lot of women, I don't know, I guess it's just deeply rooted generational curses. I don't know why we think others are out to get us, especially our own. But I think it's definitely something that comes from the inside, and definitely the heart work. Like, you really have to, you got to fix whatever healing that you got to heal, because the only way that you're going to be open and receptive to others in anything, in support, in love, you have to heal yourself. And so that's only a personal journey. That's only something that can be done on the personal level. But that's a great point, because if you aren't healed, you're not going to be able to accept, you know, that love, that support, or give it. And so it all starts from healing. Wow, that was good. Okay, so you know, out of everybody who is going to be listening to this, who is Kenya trying to connect with? Like, what type of people are you looking to connect with? Who do you want to reach out to you? Who are you trying to network with?
You know what? I am trying to connect with Black women and Black women only. Just, you know, for me, there's my life, like, when I look at it, like, you know, there was one point when I was a single mom. I was actually on cash aid and food stamps, all of that, girl. When I moved back to California from Boston, I ended up leaving my son's father. That's a whole other story. And I remember just being very frustrated and embarrassed, because, like, having the parents that I have, I remember being very frustrated. That's why I went into corporate America. But I remember being very frustrated, because I'm just like, I want to be able to, you know, enjoy the good, cool health stuff. I want to be able to walk into a juice bar and not feel uncomfortable. My son, at one point, his milk, I had to go to Whole Foods and get it with an EBT card. You see what I'm saying? And it was embarrassing. And it was even more embarrassing, like, going there and not even seeing a representation of ourselves. Right. And so when I look at, like, who is my audience or what I do, my audience is just Black women, and I'm rooting for everybody Black. And Black women, I want us, like, I don't care how you work, where you work, you're an entrepreneur, you're working, you're a single mom, like, my juices are affordable, and it's for everybody. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's what's going to bring us together universally. Absolutely. It's just being able to help everyone. You know, eventually I want to be able to open up an actual juice bar in Sacramento, where all Black women can come and sit and read a book, enjoy some music, and drink some juice, maybe grab a coffee. But I honestly, I'm for everyone. I'm for the working mom. because I, was the working mom. I was the, 9 to 5. And one thing I noticed is like when I was going to work, I was always stopping to get some coffee, stopping to get some juice from other places. So I want to be able to deliver to everyone.
Absolutely.
No matter the income, no matter, like I'm here, I got y'all.
And side note, her juices are very good. They are actually very good. I've tried a few flavors. I think my favorite one that I tried was the cucumber one. It was the cool one, not the one that burns.
Cooler. That's my favorite, girl.
And then you do seasonal. So what are your juice flavors that are out right now?
Yes. So now we are into the fall menu, and I love fall and I love winter. Like, yes. But right now I have a really fun juice called Spice Pear. And so it's ginger, pear, and excuse me. Ginger, pear, and spinach with like a hint of apple. It's so good, girl. The ginger is great for inflammation. Of course, like your pear. I mean, the spinach, everything is just good. It blends so well. I have another drink called Sweet Thing. So it has sweet potato, girl, and of course that's from Shaka Khan. But it it has sweet potatoes, which is very crazy, carrots, apple, and a hint of cinnamon. And cinnamon's really good for you, especially if you like trying to curb your appetite, lose weight, like even like your blood pressure, trying to get your blood pressure down. Girl, but I have so many just new fall flavors on the menu. Hey. And they're just nice and tasty. Like, honestly, because I know a lot of people, they're like, oh, I don't drink juice because it just looks weird and it's nasty. But I'm like, no, let me bring you to the real side over here.
Yes, I love it. Now, do you have any upcoming places that you're going to be, pop-up vendor spots that you're going to be at?
Yes, actually, I'm actually closing out self-care. Well, I'll be a vendor at Self-Care Sunday this coming Sunday, on November 8th, as well as like I'm just relaunching my website. So that way you'll be able to go on, order off the website. I'll be delivering, as well as I'll be shipping very soon.
Oh, yes.
Yes, girl. So I'm super excited for that. Also, I'm updating my website with a blog. So you'll see me start blogging a bit more. And really my blog is not necessarily just for like, health wise, but just talking as a Black woman. And so once a month, I'll have topics and all that, and just kind of just being more engaging.
I love that. I love that. Now, I am going to share all of your information as well, but best way for somebody to order, where should they go?
Yes. So right now you can go to www.juicebykenya.com. I'm on Instagram, Juice by Kenya, as well as Facebook. You can like me on Facebook, Juice by Kenya.
I said so simple that everything is the same.
Yes, honey. Everything is the same. And if you have any questions, I'm always asking questions or answering questions on Instagram. Reach out to me. I think I do more live stories on there and all that good stuff. And I'll be giving out some merch pretty soon. Ooh. So definitely make sure y'all follow me.
Okay, now.
Yes, and we have a wellness box coming out, so that's gonna be really fun.
Ooh, a wellness box. Ooh.
Yes, I'm teaming up with one of my good friends in the area, and yeah, we're gonna rock it, girl.
Wow, I am so excited for you. It seems like business is booming.
Girl, I'm like, yes, Lord.
I love to see it. I really, really do. I just want to thank you so much for coming on here. Like I said, you were the last puzzle piece for me even getting this off the ground. So I just, thank you. Real things happen when women connect, especially Black women for sure. And so I know we are business besties for sure.
Yes, and I'll be in the A soon, honey.
Yes, girl. Come see me. Come see me. So yes, like I said, all of your information will be at the end. So I'm super excited for people to connect with you. Again, thank you. I love you.
And I love you too.
I will see you next time, girl.
Yes, girl. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.